It's deja vu at the Riverside as just like last season, Boro beat Swansea on the opening day by 1-0. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the first Project Boro review of the official 25-26 championship season, and what a relief. Boro got off to a winning start, once again beating Swansea narrowly by 1-0, courtesy of a Dale Fry header, something that was once a very rare occurrence. Now it's becoming something that happens every single week. It's his third goal already, if you include pre-season. Is it Boro's fifth goal from set pieces since the start of pre-season as well? And it is a huge win. I think given all the noise around Boro, I guess the pressure that's grown onto the club with the lack of signings in the summer, and obviously all the noise around Rob Edwards and what happened to him last season, paired that with Boro's tough start on paper at least, it felt like a big opportunity for Boro to bank 3 points here today, especially when you're at home. You want to make a good first impression in front of all the home fans. It felt like a really big occasion, this, and thank God Boro did get the job done, got themselves a win, got themselves a clean sheet as well, and are off to a good winning start. Now, I'm not going to pretend this was the greatest game in the world. It wasn't pretty. In fact, it was pretty darn ugly at times, and it wasn't one that's going to be remembered fondly on any end-of-season promotion DVDs, if there might be one. But in all seriousness, yeah, it wasn't a great game of football. Now, I think you can accept that's going to be the case anyway, because it's the first game of the season. You know, like Swansea, like Boro, we've both got gaps in our teams. We've got injuries. We've got players missing. We need additions. You know, for Boro, new manager, new style. Of course, there's so many reasons why we're not going to just rock up on the first day and be unbelievably fluid and clicking in all areas and be blowing teams away left, right and centre. That's just not going to be the case. And plus, I just think with Rob Edwards' style of football, it's not going to be the case either. This is not Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough. This is a Middlesbrough that's a little bit tougher, a little bit rougher, a little bit more direct, a little bit more vertical. We're not, and we shouldn't expect to have the same level as football as what we had under Michael Carrick. But what I will say is this: I think this is the sort of game that Boro would not have won last season. These are the narrow games which you can either just edge your way out on the winning side of, or you can find a way of losing it. And I feel like, honestly, the Boro team of last season, the Boro team of seasons gone by, instead of finding a way to win like we did today, we'd have found a way to lose this game. We'd have dropped points. We'd have drew the game 0-0, or we'd have probably gifted a huge opportunity at the other end and ended up losing the game 1-0. So it is, I think, very promising to see that when a game is tight, when a game is even, when the quality isn't there, Boro were able to find a way to win. And there were a lot of things that I saw in this performance that I wanted from Boro last season. Now, I know a lot of the purists will not be happy that it's not as pretty on the eye and it wasn't as nice, but I'll be honest, I'm over nice football. I could not give a crap about Boro playing pretty football, because at the end of the day, where did pretty football get us? We tried playing pretty football for 2.5 years, and yet the XG numbers were great, and the shots on target and the creativity was fantastic, but where did it get us? Absolutely nowhere. It didn't get us anywhere, it didn't bring us any success whatsoever, and there were so many criticisms of Boro in the last few seasons that we weren't tough enough, we weren't rigid enough, we couldn't manage games, we found ways of throwing games away. I saw little signs in this game that we have started to do the opposite of that. You know, we found a way to win today. We utilised set pieces, which are a very underrated part of football. They can make such a huge difference. In the second half, the substitutes from Rob Edwards were pretty good. The way we managed the game at the end, we were never under any pressure. It never felt like there was an anxiety within the ground, like this team were going to throw the game away. There was always that feeling with Carrick's Boro that any minute now we might throw up a big chance, gift the opportunity to the opposing side. felt reassured in the second half in this game. I didn't feel worried. I dare say I trusted this team to see the game out. I trusted them to get the result. So don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of things that need to be improved on. We can't nick games like this every single week. That's obvious. Fans are going to want to see improvements on the ball, in possession. We will want to be more creative. We're not going to get away with winning every game 1-0 via a set piece. But I think at this stage of the season, when performances are secondary and results are just the most important thing, I'll take nicking a game via a set piece every single day of the week, and twice on Sundays, if I'm absolutely honest with you. So, let's take a look at Boro's team then. FootMob clearly hasn't adjusted to the change to Rob Edwards, because the formation that it's dropped here is completely and utterly wrong. So I might even chuck my own version on screen for you, because FootMob have been absolutely useless. But Sol Brynn did indeed start the game. It was the back three, but not the back three we maybe thought. Luke Ayling did start with Dale Fry in the middle, with Alfie Jones on the left-hand side. The wing-backs were Sammy Silvera. Callum Britton was dropped straight in from the start today. We then, of course, had the midfield two of Hackney and Morris, with the 2 10s, Bergzorg left, Whittaker right, and Tommy Conway up top. As for the first half, there wasn't too much between the sides. I wouldn't say there were any big chances. Sol Brynn had one save to make, which came from a cross and a header. That was a comfortable save from him. There were 2 huge chances from range that went very, very close. There was a shot from range from their end. It was an absolute thunderbolt that just fizzed wide of the post. I was right behind it in the north stand, and I thought it was going in. It luckily just curled away from the top corner at the last minute. Morgan Whittaker, he had a thunderous strike that was beautifully tipped onto the bar by Vigoro in the Swansea goal. That was Boro's big chance. We did threaten from corners. We had a couple of corners and crosses that caused a bit of carnage in the box, but there weren't many chances from open play at all from both sides, and I think that's where one of the problems will lie looking forward. And I think Rob Edwards would be the first to agree with that as well. Boro weren't creative enough. There wasn't much fluidity with our play in the first half, and the quality was quite poor as well. I think we still got into decent areas, especially out wide. I wouldn't say the 10s were all that effective in the first half. It felt very similar to the first half against Deportivo, actually. The 10s weren't really in the game, weren't having much of an impact. That was leaving Tommy Conway a very isolated figure up top. So that, again, shows that there is so much emphasis on Rob Edwards' wing-backs and how they sort of bring the creativity. And sadly, as I say, there was not much quality in the first half from either side. Callum Britton never really got into a good attacking area first half. Silvera did, to be fair, on a few occasions, but the quality on the end of the crosses wasn't all that great. And I wouldn't say Swansea did much going the other way either. And that's the positive from a Boro point of view. We know we were blunt, we were toothless going forward. We weren't great going forward first half, but I wouldn't say Swansea offered all that much either, because Boro's defence was just solid. Really, really solid. Dale Fry was brilliant at the heart of it. Alfie Jones, I thought, was fantastic. I think he had a brilliant debut. He was throwing himself into every single challenge, and I thought we were very solid. And I've said many, many times last season, I'd like a Boro team to build from the back. I'd like a Boro team who was solid first and foremost. That's exactly what we were, and it went on to the second half. And of course, the one big moment that defined it was from Dale Fry. There wasn't much else in the second half, but the one big moment came, and it was a Morgan Whittaker corner, a brilliant corner in-swinger that Dale Fry got on the end of, and I was delighted. I did say on the Boro Breakdown, Dale Fry, 10 goals this season. Jokingly actually put on X before the game, how many goals is Dale Fry going to score from a corner today? I said 4, jokingly. He actually did score, which is awesome. It was a brilliant header from Dale, and I think for years now we've been sort of wanting more from Dale Fry in the opposition's box. He's always been a good championship defender, but he's never been one that scored that many goals, which is a bit of a surprise given his height, given his his physicality. But I don't know what Harry Watling has done, but my word, he did come into Boro, and there was quite a lot of praise around the work he did from set plays at Rangers, I think it was. And already you can see the benefit that this is having. 5 goals from set plays already. And I can't tell you how important this could be, how important of an asset this could be to Borough's armoury, because if you're in a tight game and it's, you're not playing great, you're not creating all that much going forward, how many points could you nick if you can get a goal from a set play? It is such an underrated, useful asset to have in your side, and it could win you. I mean, it's won us 2 points already. It could win you 10 points, 15 points over the course of the season. If in a tight game, when you may be struggling, you could nick a point, you could even nick all three via a set piece. And it's just really good to see that Boro are, well, they're mastering this at the moment. It's incredible how well we've done from set pieces over the summer and into the season so far. So it was a brilliant corner, great delivery, good header from Dale Fry. Great to see him getting on the score sheet, and there was a really good banner in the South Stand celebrating 10 years of Dale Fry since he broke into the team, all the way back at the start of the 15-16 season away at Preston. I remember it well. Here he was, getting the winning goal for his hometown club. After that, I wouldn't say there was much to of note in terms of chances, but I think the big key thing I can take away from the rest of the second half was that Boro managed it well. And this, again, is something that I haven't said, and I wish I could have said a lot more in recent seasons. But one of the big things that Boro were poor at in the last few seasons was managing games. Substitutions, being right, seeing a game out, managing a game. And I never felt worried. At any point, I never felt anxious. I never felt worried about Boro throwing the game away. And 6 minutes went up at the end in stoppage time, and they flew by. I thought Boro managed the game brilliantly. I think there was a few reasons as to why. I think, firstly, we didn't put ourselves under any unnecessary pressure. I think often with Carrick, we would continue to play the same way, regardless of if we were 1 up, 2 down, 3 down, if it was minute 1, minute 90. We just kept playing the same way, and it would always sort of invite pressure. And I noticed we never put ourselves under any unnecessary pressure in this game. When we were closing it out, we were just getting rid of it. We were keeping in our shape, as Rob Edwards has alluded to a lot, and I think you can sort of see it. Keep the ball as far away from our goal as possible. Get it in the opposition's end. And I heard a few people in the crowd, murmuring that we were just booting it, getting rid of it, giving it back to the opposition. But I'd rather the opposition have the ball in their own box than in Boro's box. So I thought we deliberately didn't put ourselves under any pressure, which we've done a lot in the past, I would say, that's invited pressure and errors and goals that we've conceded. I also feel like just the general game management from amongst the players was good. A lot of time in the second half, players were going down, drawing fouls, winning free kicks, slowing the game down. I thought there were good signs of in-game management from the players there, which is good because Rob Edwards can only do so much. But I think last season we saw a lot of players doing stupid things, putting us in trouble. They seemed a little bit more wise in the second half. It seemed like they were, doing a lot of good things, winning us fouls, getting us free kicks, slowing the game down. It's the sort of thing you want to see when you're trying to manage the game and close the game out. And then finally, I thought the substitutions were pretty good as well. And we'll get on to individuals in a bit, but I thought Edwards, we were 1-0 up. And last season, how often under Carrick would you ever see Boro making a change at 1-0 up, making the first change, making early changes? But we brought on Kante second half, so we were playing with 2 sixes alongside Ian Morris, pushing Hayden Hackney a little bit further forward. He made changes at centre-back, bringing on Neto Borges for Callum Britton, so that was a wise move as well. Second half, I just thought the substitutions were, a lot of it was to condition the players, keep them fit, bring off players that were maybe a bit tired, but I also think there was a degree of deliberately solidifying us up, managing the game with them changes. I thought the players did a good job of that as well. And the game ticked down. Boro didn't give up anything of note. Saw the game out, 1-0 win, absolutely fantastic. And as I say, it might not be the XG bombastic, creative chances are flying all over the place sort of win, but I remember games last season where Boro would have upwards of 20 plus 30 shots, and we find a way of drawing or losing the game at the start of last season. I think home games to Preston, home games to Pompey, the away trip to Derby all spring to mind. So it's good that Boro found a way here. We used set pieces to our advantage, nicked the win, solid at the back. Good signs. Good signs. Now, of course, I'm not going to get carried away. We've still got to improve a lot in possession, on the ball. I'd like to hope naturally that's the sort of thing that would just come with the players playing, getting used to playing with each other, the new system, bringing in new signings, etc. So I'd like to think that would improve. And as I said, it's going to have to, especially up against some of the better sides in this league. But at least when a game is like this, when it's tight, when it's difficult, when it's bitty, you can find a way of getting the 3 points. They might really top up and make a huge difference over a 46-game season. So a quick look at the stats then before we look at the players. You can see, interestingly enough, how much of a tight game it was. Boro did edge possession in this game. I was expecting better from Swansea, I'll be honest. I was expecting them to be a little bit better in possession. They were a lot more physical than I thought they would be off the ball. XG, of course, not much to it. Boro still did have more of it, 6 shots, 3 on target in this game, but look at the other one. That's the other the other stats that bring me a lot more joy, limiting Swansea to 0.1, 3 shots, 1 on target. That's all we gave them in that entire game, which is very, very good to see. Not much else to really point out when it comes to the stats. Of course, I would like Boro's offensive stats to improve on that. As for the players, though, I don't think there's much to say about Sol Brain. I thought he made some decent saves, some decent catches, some decent takes when he had to, but the defence in front of him was so solid, he didn't really have all that much to worry about. Dale Fry, of course, was solid. I think he really is settling into this more centre of a back three role. You know, I don't think there's as much emphasis on him with the ball at his feet. I don't think there's as much emphasis on any of them with the ball at their feet, to be honest, but I think as the centrepiece to just sort of mark his man, head it, kick it, defend, first and foremost, he's doing that really, really well. And I think he's been very good in pre-season. Thought Alfie Jones had a really good debut as well in the league. He is definitely the tough, more old-fashioned centre-half. The amount of tackles he threw himself into, crunching tackles that he got there, he won, cleared his lines. Just a reliable defender, I would say. Again, he's not someone who I thought would stand out with the ball at his feet, but I thought in terms of defending and being physical, winning his duels, I thought he did that pretty well. Luke Ayling had a good game as well on the other side of the back three. A couple of passes went astray, but I thought in terms of marking his man, you know, defending as a unit, I thought he did really, really well. And if he's going to start, it definitely has to be in a back three for me. Callum Britton was a bit quiet. Would have liked to have seen a bit more from him in his debut. And I thought Silvera, again, did all right. I wouldn't say he was as good as what he was in pre-season. I think he got into some good areas. Maybe the quality wasn't quite there, but again, I think he's definitely done himself no harm once more that he can be a part of Boro's squad, although we definitely have to improve there. Hackney and Morris were just solid. They were as solid as they always are in possession, out of possession. I thought they were both a brilliant midfield too, and I still hope that that's not the last we see of Hayden Hackney, although I do worry at the Riverside it very well might be. And then the 10s, as I say, didn't really get into the game all that much, unfortunately. I thought Whittaker looked okay. You know, at times he was buzzing around, had a good shot saved. Definitely looked more suited and more lively in that position than Bergzorg. Got an assist, of course, as well. But yeah, Bergzorg, he chased a few balls down that went into the channels. He was okay in possession, but not that effective, really. And I do think when McGree, when Azaz are fit, it's obvious one of them two are going to drop back into that position, and maybe Azaz is understood to possibly be fit for next week as well, so he might be in the squad for Millwall at least. And unfortunately, that meant that Tommy Conway was very much a passenger in this game. You know, he chased the ball down, he didn't stop running, he pressed well from the front. Unfortunately, if Boro are going to be like this with the ball and not all that creative, chances won't be as fruitful for Tommy, but I do hope, as I say, if Boro do improve in them positions, hopefully Tommy Conway will start to benefit. He did obviously get 2 good goals in pre-season, so we've seen this system work for him, but unfortunately today, didn't see all that much of Tommy Conway, unfortunately. Now, there's not much to say on the table, of course. It is nice to see Boro start with a big green W, and of course it is hilarious to see Boro 7th. We seem to be always 7th. Forever we are 7th. I think we will forever be 7th in the Championship. But the table means nothing at this point, of course, but it's just good to see. Boro played one and won one, of course. But that's all, really. A good day at the office, a good, solid opening win with everything that's happened around the club and all the talk and I guess the, not negativity, but the pessimism, the lack of signings. This was exactly what Boro needed to get off to a winning start, and we can only hope we can build on it and start to see improvements. Of course, next weekend we are away at Millwall, which will be a very, very difficult test. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, whether you're a Boro fan, Swansea fan, your thoughts in the comments on the game, on the performance. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe for more, and hit the bell too so you never miss when a video drops. As always, these do go not only on YouTube but on the podcast providers too, so if you want to listen to these on the go, you can do via the link tree in the description. But until next time, guys, I'll be back later on next week. We will be doing a preview show towards the Millwall game, as well as some championship content in between, and we'll also keep an eye on any transfer news that might be happening in and out of Boro this week. There won't be any coverage on the Cup game this week unless something, well, equally amazing or drastic happens at home to Doncaster in the EFL Cup. But until next time, guys, do take care. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.